Hi everyone. For today's book review, we're going to take a leisurely trip under the sea and check out The Dream Wrecks of the Caribbean, co-written by Kathy Salisbury and Dominique Serafini. This couple had their own TV show in 2006, exploring 26 different wrecks throughout the Caribbean, and this book represents their revised second version of writing about shipwrecks in the Caribbean. The first book was also called Dream Wrecks. Since then they have published two other books, The Great Caribbean Lionfish Escape for younger readers and Shipwrecks of the Volcano. We'll come to that one in a sec. I initially hunted this book down because it had a considerable amount of information about the Bianca Sea, which is a fascinating ocean liner, originally the French Marseillaise, which then ended its days as the Italian Costa Line's vessel's Bianca Sea. It caught fire and sank in the Caribbean and is one of the largest diveable wrecks. And this book has a substantial amount of information covering that wreck, and you can see up here it is also lavishly illustrated. But this book is more than just about one wreck. It is about many other wrecks sprinkled throughout the various islands of the Caribbean. And we get to read and understand a mixture of information. This book is primarily a history of the shipwrecks, how they came about to be wrecked, what happened during the wrecking event, and what's it like to actually dive on the wreck, both in terms of physical remains and the sea life that abounds throughout these wrecks. As you're seeing up there in the corner, the book is also extensively illustrated, both with photographs of said ships, either sinking or having sunk, views of the wreck itself, and a particular draw card is the beautiful artwork that you see that illustrates the feeling that you get diving on these wrecks. What is especially unique is the color palette. It complements the vivid colors that you get to see in the wrecks of the Caribbean, and it certainly adds a personal touch to this book. We learn of a variety of fascinating and occasionally tragic wrecks. So I've already discussed the Bianca Sea. We have another French liner, the Antilles, that ran aground, burst into flames. The passengers were rescued by the QE2. And then eventually the wreck was pulverized to pieces and can now be dived, although the currents don't make it the safest wreck to dive. You also have some smaller wrecks. There is the Roriama, a fascinating wreck off Martinique that was lost to the volcanic eruption. And this is also featured in their other book, Shipwrecks of the Volcano. There's about 6 or 7 wrecks off Martinique that were all lost in a catastrophic eruption in 1902, with over 30,000 people dying. If you imagine an eruption similar in scope and scale to the eruption that came out of Mount St. Helens, or the eruption that destroyed Pompeii or Dante's Peak, then you get an understanding of the type of eruption and the forces at play here. In addition to some of these tragic stories, there are plenty others. There's the Rhone, a British ocean liner that was lost in a gale, and its wreck was then used as a set for the 1970s thriller The Deep. Not all stories are as tragic and as sad. I've just highlighted a few that were of interest to me. And throughout the book, everything is complemented by beautiful photos, reminiscences from our co-authors about some of their experiences diving on these wrecks as well, together with the history of the wreck, the ships, and what happened once they sunk, complemented by some beautiful photography. As a shipwreck book, this is fantastic. The illustrations set this apart. The writing style is wonderful. It just flows nice and easily, like a warm Caribbean current. Plenty of ships there to read about and research further, should any of their stories pique your interest. And again, just a wonderful book to have on your coffee table. Bright colors, fascinating information, great photography, and exceptional artwork. So all in all, if you love shipwrecks and you are fascinated or interested by diving, then this book comes highly recommended, and for me is a 5 captain's hats. So do check it out. The Dream Wrecks of the Caribbean.